Namaste, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, beautiful people. I am Ritika Vasudev, your host for this show, which is called Empowered Women. And here I am bringing you inspiring stories from successful women entrepreneurs. And we can learn a lot from their success stories and implement their wisdom in our journey. So today I have a very wonderful, beautiful, awesome guest. Her name is Parimala Jaggesh, and she's the founder of Alamirap Nutrition. And she's also one of the 50 most inspiring women in India. And she's a recipient of Women Excellence Award 2022 from Lead India Foundation. So before I welcome my guest, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Ritika Vasudev, and I'm a beauty and wellness professional turned into an entrepreneur and a relationship coach. So as we know that March is celebrated as Women's Month, May is celebrated as Mother's Month. So today we are discussing about motherhood and challenges of being an entrepreneur. So I have a beautiful guest here today. Her name is Parimala Jaggesh, and she's not only a successful entrepreneur, but she's also a successful mom and a grandmom. Hello, Ms. Parimala Jaggesh.
Namaskara. Hi, Ritika. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for accepting my invite for this first series that I'm doing on empowered women. So you're my first guest on this series. And I'm very honored. I'm very honored to have you here and very excited also to be discussing about motherhood and the challenges of working mother when they are an entrepreneur. And so I'm very excited, and let's see how it unfolds.
Yes. So, thank
Yes.
you. It is an honor to be part of this show. And what an amazing topic. I just fell in love with the heading of your series, what you want to do, motherhood and careers.
Yes. So before
It's,
we, sorry.
yes, please go ahead.
So before we dive in, let me quickly introduce myself and my guest. I am Ritika Vasudev. I'm a beauty and wellness professional turned into an entrepreneur and into a relationship coach. And here I have Ms. Parimala Jaggesh, who is the founder and CEO of Alamirap Nutrition, which is a health and wellness based business, right?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. And we'll be talking to Miss Parimala about her journey, what motivated her, what inspired her to enter into this arena, and what were her challenges and wins. So let's begin. So I would like to ask you that what was your motivation to begin this journey when you were already playing the role of a mother, or I think a grandmother, because you mentioned this, that you started your entrepreneurial journey at a very young age when you had become a grandmother. So I think that's called for a lot of applause and celebration that you're starting this journey at such a young age, a beautiful age.
Uh, the thing is, Ritika, every single person, every single woman, every single girl has these dreams when they're growing up about how they'd want their life to be. But all of us are not fortunate enough that once we get married, things normally, especially in spite of all the freedom, all the changes happening in India now, still there are crores of women where they find it extremely difficult to go behind their dream, to achieve their goals. And the reason my journey is a pretty interesting one because I got married when I was 15 years old. I had just finished my 10th grade. And post that, within a couple of years, I had my first son. And at that time, I was actually studying my 12th standard, that is my PUC, with the baby, because I was always clear come what may, whatever the responsibilities we would have to face in life, I just love to read, to keep myself educated, to be empowered with knowledge is something that gives me an extreme high. So what happened was, many women out there used to ask me like, how can you manage family, kids, and studying? And trust me, Ritika, we are so multi-talented. When we want to do something, nothing can stop us. And yes, I'm an example for that. So along with the journey of having two children, it was so much of fun where all the three of us, I have two sons. So both my sons and myself, all the three would be studying. And I always had to ace my classes because I could never ask them to get good marks unless and until I showed them I had good marks. So the minute, when we were studying for tests or exams, and I was like, Guru, Eti, are you preparing? They said, Ma, first you prepare, you get good marks. So, yes, we have this mindset that once we are married, uh, compromises is a part of life, but compromise itself cannot be the end all in life. So, the balance where you're supposed to find between compromise and going behind your goal is something which I would love to share with you today.
Wow, that's wonderful. Story, and it's a very inspiring story that you became a mother at a very, very young age. I was thinking like maybe in 20s, when people embrace motherhood, but you're talking of, getting married at the age of 15 and embracing motherhood within like when you were in 12, so for the next 2 years. So that's really, it's really inspiring that becoming a mother and becoming a hands-on mother and also studying for your exams, preparing for your life ahead. I think that's something we all, I am sure we'll have a lot of golden nuggets from you in this call today. So that's very beautiful. So on this note, my next question is that when young women who become mothers or young mothers, they face this challenge, right, of balancing. And you just mentioned that how you were balancing and you were not only asking something from your kids, but you were also showing them by becoming an example that you are studying, you are putting in your efforts, you're working hard, and then you're asking them rather than just commanding that do this or just instructing them. So this is one of the major challenges today, that kids don't listen to their parents, and mothers have this challenge that they don't listen. And they say, and mothers or parents, they bring their experience onto the kids. So how can they overcome this challenge of making their kids realize that what is important and what is not important? Being a mother, how can you manage this?
So, the first thing is, it's a very common complaint, especially post COVID, because kids thrive the best when they have a structure in their life. Because then things are very easy. They know, okay, I get up at this time, I get ready for school, I go to school, I come back, maybe play, and then come back, dinner, go to bed. Weekends, we are off. So they thrive the best. COVID, when it initially started, none of us knew what the future held. So it was, do you remember, Ritika, when COVID started, all of them, like, we treated it like an unexpected holiday. So all of us out there, busy cooking and baking and putting up things because we thought it was a holiday. We did not realize the severity of the situation. We had no clue that it's going to extend for 2 years. So the initial few days, few weeks, what happened when the children said, I want to stay up late? Parents are like, okay, chalo, stay up late, because they thought it's a holiday. So when the children started losing their structure, they were staying up late, they didn't have classes. So the entire timetable framework, what they were used to, went down the drain. And all of a sudden, when we had to start working from home, now most of the families are nuclear families, and we did not have the help, be it of a domestic help or maybe like even friends, neighbors, where somebody could pitch in to look after our kids. We had to manage work from home. With all these difficulties, initially parents found it much more easier to give children much more screen time, be it television or laptop, because they had to figure out how to start working from home, and everything went haywire. So what happened was, post that, we thought it's just going to be for 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months, a year. And then you had complaints pouring in, parents not knowing what to do. Children had sort of got away from their disciplined life. But it's never too late to change. That's okay. If we have been on that spree till now, the very simple changes, what I would love every single parent to do is, there are certain pointers where even if you have been lax, we can always say, okay, I was sorry. You can't have an extended bedtime, go to bed whenever you like. Let's work it out. And the children these days, I could get away trying to bully my kids, but I can't do that with my grandson. Because the minute I tell that, he asks me, why are you asking me to do this? They need explanation. The kids, these generation, are way beyond what we were when we were kids. We were real dumb little playthings, I guess. But the kids, these generations are so smart. So what do we have to do as parents, as caregivers? Explain the situation to them. Tell them, yes, there are certain things. Sit with your children if they are of the age where you will be able to discuss. Please sit with them and discuss. Okay, we understand. This is what we do with our grandson. So there was always this constant conflict where he felt he was not getting enough TV time, and my daughter-in-law felt no, he is having more of a screen time. So then in stepped my son, and he said, okay, both of you listen. They gave my grandson is around 5 years old, okay, 5 to 6. So they gave him a book. They said, when you start watching television, just make a note of the time. So by the end of the day, both the mother and the son were on the same page. So they just give him 30 minutes of screen time in an entire 24 hour. Otherwise, he's a kid who loves to play outdoors. They ensure they do that. So this 30 minutes, this was a negotiation where he understood. So he decided which show he really liked the most, and he would stick to it. Once you give responsibility to kids, you will be amazed at the way they transform. So this is with regards to screen time. Let's come to something like nutrition. When you tell them, eat good food, they are not going to listen to you. So what's the best thing you can do? The best thing you can do is, rather than forcing your children to do anything, you set an example. You have a balanced plate. You have a portion of protein, you have carbs, you have fibers. They look at it. They love to imitate elders. That makes them feel grown up. So that is why children always wear their papa shoes. Their legs are so tiny. They're wearing such big shoes. They always try to fit into the elder shoes. So as parents, being street smart, instead of trying to trick them into eating foods, kids are so smart, you can't even trick them these days. It's better you set an example. You set an example with discipline. You set an example with being physically active every single day for at least 30 minutes. You set an example by having good hydration, by having beautiful balanced plates. And also, for example, if your kid is a fussy eater, talk to your kid. Tell him, let's include just 2 fruits a day. What fruits would you like today? Let's put a timetable. So the minute you give them the power to choose, and it's very simple. The parents hold the rein. Maybe you give them 10 fruits and tell them, out of these 10, pick and choose 2. So for 5 days, you're sorted out. So here, the swap which you're doing for your children is, you are choosing the fruits, the vegetables, the everything which is within your budget, within what you can afford for your children. Because like exotic foods, if you're not financially stable, is not going to work. So be smart. Okay, this is what will fit into a family budget. Talk to your kids about it. Dad, mom, we are finding a little problem in our financials. So how about not ordering every alternate day outside? Can we stick to ordering once outside? And trust me, children understand. We underestimate kids. So Being a mother, a caretaker, and children, this is one thing which I'd love to share with you all. And you're not the only ones with this query. Very recently, for a corporate company, when I gave a webinar talk, we had approached and we had clientele across the globe. When we had approached them and asked them, Parimala Jaggesh is a health and wellness coach, a life coach, positive psychology coach. What do you want to know from her? I thought, Ritika, that people would be more interested in knowing about themselves. It was shocking to realize 70% of the queries across the globe were about how do I manage my children? So, all of you listeners out there, it's not only our problem. This issue is being faced by everybody throughout the globe. So, let's try and handle it. And at the end of the day, before
Completely,
you blink,
I
children
completely
grow up.
agree.
Before you blink, children grow up. So enjoy their childhood, take it in your stride, and just as a responsible parent, create loads of beautiful memories for them. So when they look back at childhood, that is all a child will remember.
That's beautiful, I think, and I completely agree with you that the main reason is, I mean, when you ask people what they want to talk about or know about, they always talk about kids. That's the number one area they want to know, because this is one relationship which is supposed to be nurtured, which is supposed to be given a lot of free hand also, but also as a parent, you need to teach a lot of discipline to them, so they understand the value of discipline and prioritizing their task. And you just showed us with that beautiful example of taking a note of the screen time. So you also disciplined your grandson, you also showed him how to prioritize and also how to be focused. So I think these are the qualities that we need to teaching our kids, not just by saying that be disciplined, do this, do that, but executing that in example in a way that they understand. And also I love the way you said giving your kids choice, power of choice, even if it is by an example of asking what do they want to eat. So you are giving them a choice, and choice is, you know, as we grow adults, our lives are shaped by our choices. So if we can teach our kids really early in their life the power of making a choice, starting from small areas like selecting their food, selecting their clothes, making small choices, which will inculcate confidence in them to make bigger choices tomorrow. So that's, I think, wonderful tips that you are sharing with us today about motherhood and um, nurturing and bringing up that relationship positively and effectively between a mother and a child. So on that note, I would also like to ask that at times there are kids, uh, like if I talk about myself as a working mother, I also carried this guilt that I am not able to spend enough time when my daughter was growing up, or I was not able to look at her nutrition when she was growing up. I was out working and she was there with the domestic help or grandparents at home. But as a mother, I always worry. So I think this is another key area my viewers, my audience wanted to know, and they already sent in their questions. So I'm just asking from that. So they want to know that as a mother, they feel guilty that they're not taking enough care of their child, especially when it comes to nutrition, because nowadays, this is number one uh, global discussion about nutrition. So how can we make it more uh, effective for kids, not only for kids but adults also, and and how we can have, as a mother, how we can ensure that they're having a balanced nutrition while we are out working, they're having that nutrition, how we can work on this.
Oh, very interesting question, Ritika, because I think every single working mother out there feel this guilt. And this is two-way. When you go ask a career woman who has taken a back seat in life after the kids are born, she feels deprived. Even though they say, yes, my priorities are my kid, somewhere at the back of the mind, when her other colleagues are working, when the rest of them are getting promotions, somewhere that eats, did I do a mistake? Should I have tried to balance both my career and being a mother? At the same time, if you go ask the other person who is working, they are feeling guilty, and maybe when they look at their colleague who has said, okay, I'm taking a break from work, I'm going to stay with my children, they feel that, oh, she's so lucky, she's spending time with the kids. So both the parties have this, and there is no one fixed golden rule. Every woman's life depends upon the choices they make, and not only the choices, the surrounding with which she is in. There are many women who have to work even though they're not interested in a work, just to ensure to keep food on their table, just to ensure that their children lead a respectable life. They have to work. Rest, it cannot be financial. Maybe they are financially stable, but there are so many of us who feel there is a validation for us being alive today when, after a period of time, we go back to work. That gives us our identity. Now, everybody is different. So, what is good for one may not be good for the other, but we are not here to judge. So, wherever you are, whoever you are, A, for example, if you take my example, when I got married, as I was just sharing, my first kid was born when I was 17 years old. When I was doing my architect engineering, my second kid was born. And at that time, my husband happened to become extremely busy with he's in the movie field, in the Kannada movie field, and he became an extremely busy hero. So those days, this is around 30 years back, we didn't have mobile, we didn't have social media, it was just a landline. So the communication between parents, or between me and my husband, was not like how it is today. And at that time, so for me, it was not finances. He was earning enough to keep food on the table for all three of us. But I just sat back and I thought, I grew up in a family where my father was a politician, extremely busy. My mom was running an institute. She was extremely busy. I used to feel so lonely. So when my husband just spoke to me like things like, did you do your homework or did you go to school? I thought that's the end of the world, and I fell in love with him and married him. It is because I wasn't exposed to that wee bit of, it's not that my parents didn't love me, but there was that lack of communication between parents and me. I had undergone that. And trust me, Ritika, I did not want to put my children through that. So I took a decision. After I finished my architect engineering, I freelanced as an architect. I ensured I was there at home, and my work hours were very strict. I was getting peanuts because I couldn't work the regular 9 to 5 job like others, but I was okay. I didn't completely let go of my career, but I prioritized both my children's education. I decided till my younger son, the second kid, comes up to his 10th standard, I am not going to go out and work in a corporate company. But I was very clear, Ritika, I am going to do it, whatever might my age be. So, what did I do to prepare myself?
Mhm.
Initially, I freelanced, worked in the timing where my children went to school. Second pointer, which is most important for every mother out here who's taking a break from a career, don't take a complete break. Don't cut yourself off to the exclusion of what's happening in your field of profession, because if you're not going to keep yourself updated, you cannot go back to where you were. And now choices are so much. Sitting at home, you have online classes. I just sit over here, I finish a course from the Yale University. It is as simple as that. So whatever is your field of choice, in a day, out of 24 hours, ensure at least an hour you keep aside to revise, to upgrade yourself in the chosen profession of yours. The third pointer, always try to ensure, even if you're working part time, you do that so that you are there with confidence. After a gap of 5 years or 10 years, if you have to go back to the corporate world, you should be well equipped. So, all these things are very, very important for a person to keep themselves on track. And yes, as I had decided, because I was very clear with my vision, I kept upgrading myself. I kept doing certifications. I initially, my earning was not much, but I wanted to be a nutritionist. So I was out of my friend circle. So I was guiding them, counseling them from the comfort of my home. That way, I also gathered experience. I also gathered confidence. There are so many things which has to come into play for a person to successfully balance both motherhood and career. If you've taken a break from motherhood, these are the three pointers you'd have to keep in mind. If you are balancing both, my request is don't feel guilty. When you are at work, give your 100% to work, but learn the art of switching off. Once you're out of the work, yes, even if you're not going to attend the call, the company is going to be there. Tomorrow, if you're going to leave the company will still exist. It feels great to think, wow, I'm such an important spoke of wheel, in the wheel of the company. But trust me, once you come out of the company, till you enter back the next day, your priorities are completely with your family. So when you realize I am giving my 100% for the company, once I'm out, 100% for my family, you are at least almost 50-60% of the guilt you're coming out. The other things, children require quality time. What is the point if you're there at home 24 hours, out of which 15 hours you're watching television and sitting and you're not bothering to see what your kids are doing, right? Instead, even if you're there at home for 2 hours, but you're totally involved with what your kids are doing, you are doing a great job as a mother. And at the end of it, there is no written rule. This is how a mother should be, or this is the right and this is the wrong. According to how life is treating you, according to how the situations are, adapt, go with the flow, create wonderful memories for your children. Nutrition aspect, as I said, communicate with your children, and whatever they're having, make it fun. Anything in fun is going to be good. So what you could do when you're eating in your office, click a pic. All of you have phones, share it in WhatsApp, show it to your kid. Hey, this is my plate, show me your plate. So the kids become answerable to you. Get fun into whatever you're doing, with get in responsibility with what you're doing, and at the end of it, one life. We don't know how many more years we're going to be alive. So what gives you happiness? Working gives me happiness, do it. Staying at home gives me happiness, do it. I love to be called as a working mother because I love to work and I love to be a mother. It's like, the two eyes. So why compromise? Let's be a go-getter working mother.
Wow, that's so amazing to listen to all these wisdom that you're sharing with us, Parimala. It's wonderful the way you shared that how you should be working on yourself in spite of taking a backseat in your career. Never stop working on yourself and spending quality time with your kids. That matters more than the quantity of time. And of course, choosing what you want to do without compromising, and most importantly, without feeling guilty about it. So I think that's very important, that we don't feel guilty, because there is no right or wrong of being a mother. A mother is a mother. She always does best, and she always chooses best for her children. So of course, there is no right and wrong. So I'm sure my audience are finding a lot of wisdom and a lot of golden nuggets here and a lot of takeaways from your experience. So now I want to know that when you decided that you want to work, so, and from your experience, I can make out that there was no resistance from your family or opposition that no, don't work, stay at home. So this is very evident that it was out of choice and they also supported you. But there are many there are many women or mothers who want to step into this journey but face opposition from the family. So how they can uh, manage it smoothly entering into this. And also the other big question, why people don't support women with financial decisions, because when it comes to investment, people don't want to support women, or most of the families don't support women. So how they can arrange for the initial funds capital that is required to set up a business?
Very simple thing, Ritika. It completely depends upon the person's individual situation in life. So if you have people, because I run the wellness company, which is called, my name is Parimala. So when you write that in reverse, it's Alamirap, Alamirap. The reason being, I firmly believe any human being in this world can reverse their way back into health and wellness. Now, if wellness of financial nature is what you're talking about, if you have the family not supporting you, now there are so many, women are in a very lucky space where you actually don't even have to step out of home to do what you want. Because the reason I'm sharing this is, every month I run a special group called Shape Up with Parimala, a program where for 30 days 30 different pointers are being shared with women. It's a group program, and in this group program, uh, the what you are talking about, women empowerment, because there are a lot of women who come into the group where they do not even tell their husbands, because the group runs through WhatsApp and Facebook. They are in such a strict atmosphere, their husbands don't even allow them to look into Facebook. So they, in fact, borrow their children's phones. Once everybody has gone to bed, then they go open the videos. Every day I put up a video for them. So they open up the video and check. There is so many restrictions. Maybe it's very difficult for a career person to understand that in this day and age, people don't even hand over a phone to you to look at the Facebook. And yes, this is the stark reality of life. Now, what do I tell these people? You don't need massive investment to start doing something. And amongst like hundreds of success stories, we are running short of time. I just like to finish up with one story, which I'm sure will inspire the rest. There was this lady who's 67 years, an extremely good cook, a grandmom, and when she came into the group program cost 5,000 rupees. So she had to save up for like 3 months, because she was very shy to ask. She didn't have her husband, and she was very shy to ask the children to give 5,000. So she had saved up. And after she came in the program, when we were talking, when we were discussing, we came to know this. It was so heart touching. She's like, no, I've seen your videos. I wanted to join the program. And ma'am, for 3 months, I saved up.
Wow.
So I spoke to her. I had a one-to-one call. I said, like, what is, like, she was in tears, she's like, when my husband was alive, I had so much of financial freedom, and today my kids will not say no, but I feel like I'm burdening them to talk to them. And what can I do at 67? Then I called her up. I was talking to her. I said, what's your specialty? She said, I'm an extremely good cook. I She cooks, I mean, she prepares pickles.
Oh,
Pickles is her forte. Then they're actually staying in some apartments. So I told her, why don't you just start out with a small business venture? And more than the children, she's very comfortable with the granddaughter. The granddaughter is tech savvy, okay? So I spoke to both the grandmom and granddaughter, said, come up with small brochures. That grandmom is doing pickles. Let her do some pickles, small bottles. They took and priced it very economical, okay? Because she's so scared to even price it. She doesn't even know how to price a bottle of pickle. So from there, they had almost like 100 apartments, in the
mhm,
building where they were staying. So
mhm.
this granddaughter gave it to the security. In the newspaper, they kept these brochures. So the people got to do. And today, trust me, she is doing a roaring business, sitting at home, doing pickles without selling anywhere other than her apartment. And
Wow.
because the pickles were so nice, the word of mouth publicity, you're having relatives coming in. It is as simple as this. So, what is the key to success? What am I trying to tell you? Whatever your age can be, you the principle of ikigai, something which you're really passionate about, which is also of value to others, and it also provides you financial stability. Identify that. It
Very
can be something very tiny, like being able to do pickles. Do it from your home if your family doesn't support you to go out. But you would have to sort of, I understand, go along with whatever, because only you know the restrictions which are there. From an outsider's perspective, the only thing we can do is guide you, and no challenge is too big. You can start with absolutely basically nothing, because now there are a lot of sites for women empowerment. You do something, you just become a part of that site. They come home, pick up the stuff you have taken. All you have to do is put a nice pic, and they take it, sell it, and give you the money. So start somewhere. Maybe the first time you start, you cannot reach what you expected. Definitely slow and steady, you can do it. So, yes, Ritika, this is my take on motherhood and careers. Anybody at any point of time can balance both. Even if you don't have a nurturing atmosphere, please try to find, there will be small loopholes. So convince your family, okay, you don't want me to go out, let me do something from home and start something, but give it your try. I hope this story where I shared, maybe LinkedIn is not a platform where somebody with such a very, what do you say, restrictive atmosphere could have been there. But if you, somebody on LinkedIn, hear this, you can share it to your domestic work, you can share it to friends, relatives, anybody at any age. You can write your own success story. That's it.
That's wonderful, I think. And that story is so inspiring of making pickles at the age of 67. So I think that's wonderful. So it's all about what you love and what you believe in. So I think self-belief is very important. And sometimes people have it in them, but they don't know it. They need a little push that they can do it. So that's very, very inspiring, very wonderful. So one thing more I would like to know more about uh, is this Alamirap. Is that right? Am I
Correct.
pronouncing it correct? Okay.
Yes.
So I think you're doing something on diabetes also.
Yes.
So could you just
Uh,
tell a bit about it? What is the project?
uh, I am basically, this is in the end, but an extremely important pointer, because I didn't know to control stress, Ritika, when I was younger. At the age of 24, without any family history of diabetes, I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. So now it's 30 years since I've been a type 2 diabetic, and I'm extremely proud to say today my health parameters are so much better. It is the best it has been compared to when I was 24. So between 24 and 54, my life has progressed so beautifully. At that point, I didn't understand why I was a diabetic. And today, I'm grateful I'm a diabetic, because it brought about so much of discipline, dedication into my life, and I really thrived. And I think, like, anytime when we are faced with a personal problem, the impact is so strong on you. You try to find a solution for it, and that is what happened. So because I was a type 2 diabetic, and at that time my younger son was just a 2-year-old baby, as a mother, I didn't want to be a burden to my children, you know. That was something which I refused to accept, that me being a diabetic, a unhealthy diabetic, that I would become a burden for my children rather than becoming a backbone for them. So for me, the choices to make to be a healthy diabetic, with whatever little knowledge we had 30 years back, it was through series of experimenting, trying to understand, and yes, I have been sort of researching from almost 30 years to how to have my diabetes under excellent remission.
Mhm.
It is not possible for every single diabetic out there to reverse their diabetes, but you can definitely keep it under the best possible control. You can have it in remission. So during this search, I had gathered so much of knowledge. So at the age of 49, I asked my husband and my sons, my granddaughter, I said, I'd love to talk to you guys. Can we have a family meeting? And they were like, why a family meeting? I'm a very chilled person. Like, why is she asking for a family meeting? And I
Mhm.
told them, I have given my very best for you guys till now. And especially as we're reaching 50, I think There's so much that hits us. Oh my God, half a century we have lived on this earth. And you start thinking about your mortality. You start thinking of leaving a legacy. You start thinking of helping people. And that's what happened to me. So I told my family, I said, see, at 49, it's high time I give back to this beautiful society. I also want to find meaning for having lived in this world. Yes, I had worked in a corporate company. I had worked as a movie producer. We come from the movie background. All these are different, but I wanted that tangible change in a human's life. And I know that, like, as I told you, identify your specialty. My specialty is God has bestowed upon me a gift of being able to walk in the shoes of the persons I meet. So I'm able to uh, understand what pain they're going through, what's happening with them. And because I'm very grounded, I know nothing in this world is permanent. So for me, what can I give back to the society? And I personally feel, Ritika, because as I told you, my dad's a politician, husband is a politician, we are from the movie field. Name, fame, celebrities, CMs, you name the people I have seen. But the one thing which is common and the most important thing in this world is health. If you don't have health, everything goes for a waste, everything goes for a toss. So I felt that the only way I can give back to the society is by bringing about sustainable lifestyle changes. No point in giving something where just for a short period it works and then it doesn't work and then they're out looking for another nutritionist or a dietitian to guide them. So a very simple philosophy, whoever comes to my company, I tell them, I should be the last dietitian you're ever going to go looking out for. Don't even come back to Alamirap Nutrition because that means I have failed as a nutritionist. Meet
Mhm.
me once. Let us guide you to change your life. And please go ahead. Don't come back to us as a client. Come back to us as family because I'm going against the total normal business model in this world, but I'm very happy because trust me, word of mouth publicity. I'm not getting the repeat client, but I'm getting thousands of new clients because the people who have taken our service, who have understood, and our kitchen, it's a treasure trove of medicines. So the way I guide people, be it diabetic, it is through a copyrighted diet process called Glam Diet. And if you want more information, if you can remember my name, Parimala, just write that in English in reverse. Alamirapnutrition.com. You'll get more information. And what I would like to just wind up this with is don't go for shortcut methods to lose weight
Yeah.
because you're harming your body. Many a time, all of us, we say when we were younger, we had health, but no wealth. Now that we are older, we have wealth, but no health. Don't do that. Don't do that. Youngsters, if you're watching this, please start taking care of your health from now itself so that when you are in the time to retire, you are in the peak of health and you retire as kings and queens. And the choice is yours. I know they all say, there's so many people, Ritika, who say, oh, the day we are born, the day we are going to die has been decided. So why diet? Diet doesn't mean giving up on all what you like. Dieting has got a very bad name, but actually, dieting is eating the right food at the right time in the right quantity according to your health goals. So
Very true.
please do take care of your health, your body, both mind and your physical body, because this is the one thing which you cannot change till your last breath. That's it.
Very true. Very true. And that's a very, very important message about our health because we are only going to be living because of our health. Even if our day is decided, but then if we are dying every day because of health issues, then what is the point? We are living, but we are dying every day before we die one day. So it's a very important message, especially for the young generation who is feeding themselves on chips and junk food while watching Netflix, eating mindlessly. This is a very, very important message. And yes, nutrition is one aspect that we all must teach our kids and we must follow as adults also. as you rightly said, that we can't be teaching our kids if we are eating junk and asking them to show us their plate. So we have to show it by example. So thank you so much, Parimala. You have shared wonderful tips and messages and insights on being a mother and becoming an entrepreneur and managing your journey wonderfully, gracefully. And thank you so much for being here, and looking forward to seeing you again in some other episode soon.
Definitely, Ritika, and all the very best. Wishing you and your Sundating Wellness an extremely fantabulous journey ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.